What's up, folks? Justin Garcia here, aka Master Chim, and this is another promo video for VioPrep 101, the combative seminar I'm hosting here at my academy in New York City, October 7th. I will put a link down below. Click that. Registration is open and spots are filling up, so make that happen. All that being said, today I have helping me out one of my fighters, Paul Hannibal Grant, pro MMA fighter, and we're going to be talking about reactionary gap and some different applications than what people are used to using it with. So, reactionary gap, if you're a member of the Warrior Project, which is the membership site that I have for my podcast and content, you've seen the power program, Reactionary Gap, and I've gone into it at great depth, and there's information on reactionary gap all over the place. The application I'm going to talk about today is some of the decision making we make in a combatives environment and how sometimes we can get a little bit pigeonholed in how it is that we process an exchange and an interaction or conflict, and how sometimes we could pay a pretty steep price for a bad decision that's made concerning reactionary gap. So Paul's in front of me, and we are in a situation where he has the ability to affect me just using his hands. I'm close enough. And if you look at a lot of combatives videos, this is where guys say, you want to stand with your hands up and you want to talk here. And all of that is valid. I'm not saying it isn't. But what I want to put out is a lot of times we prepare ourselves to handle different escalations of force. It could be we are carrying a firearm. It could be we are carrying a blade. It could be we are trained in how to use our hands. It could be a group of my friends is 100 feet away hanging out, and all I have to do is call to them and they could be here to help. Whatever the case is, if Paul is designated somebody that I want to do violence to, I have to make decisions concerning the reactionary gap of the tools and weapons that I have available to me, okay? So one of the things you will see when you have guys that are shooters, right? Guys that are running pistols. They're dying to pull their pistol out and shoot somebody, even if they are in a range where realistically, I'm not going to be able to draw and deploy my pistol effectively given the range that I'm in with my target. Now, that's not to say that there aren't ways that I could do that, but we have, when we're taking reactionary gap into consideration, we understand that there may be tools that I can get up and running more effectively, more quickly than the ones that I have available to me in totality, right? So let's use that example of having 10 of my friends, a half a block away. Let's say that Paul, I don't know how to fight, right? I don't know how to fight. And Paul is a professional MMA fighter. And let's just say I make the decision that, listen, this guy's going to probably kick my ass if I fight him hand to hand. And I say, well, you know what? I got 10 of my friends half a block away. But if that is the greatest violence I have available to me, the greatest amount of violence I have available to me, I have to understand, well, there's a certain timeline that I have to respect. And the time it takes for Paul to affect me violently compared to the time it takes me to recruit all of those friends to come here and affect Paul violently needs to be considered. So there may be, let's just say, a half a second or a second that Paul is going to need once he makes a move to be violent to me. It may take me 30 seconds to get that crew over here, which means I'm already starting to lose this exchange because I'm using a tool that is outside the reactionary gap of this conflict. I may, however, be able to recruit a different tool to work and affect him because this, although not the greatest amount of violence that I have at my disposal, this is the only thing that could effectively work in the gap of the person that I'm doing violence to, or in a position of conflict, with. So the point being, when we talk about reactionary gap, there are a lot of different ways that we could apply this to individual tools that we have. But I think sometimes what is missed in reactionary gap conversations is the comparison of the gaps that we have. So I could call 911 if there's a conflict. And you might say, if somebody is outside of your house and they are, robbing your car, I might make a decision to say, well, you know what? The cops are 3 minutes away. This person's going to be gone in a minute. Maybe I'm going to make the call and still do something in the interim. I might say, I see somebody breaking into the neighbor's house and they're probably going to at least be there 3 minutes because it's going to take them a while to get in. They're going to do what they're going to do. I'm going to call the cops, and that's going to be sufficient to deal with the situation because of the time that I'm dealing with in each one of these options. Okay? So reactionary gap in its simplest form is distance. We use it to measure distance, right? So Paul just extended jab. Most people's understanding of reactionary gap begins and ends with this application. He is so close to me that he can hit me before I could block it, right? So he goes to throw a jab. I'm at a distance where I could affect that. If I get close enough to where he throws the jab and he hits me before I could do it, he's in my reactionary gap. That's the reactionary gap understanding that a lot of people use, and it's valid, but it's limited in its application. The concept of reactionary gap is much bigger than that. And when we start comparing the different options we have and the timelines associated with those options, and then overlay that on the need that we have for a solution, we start to actually understand how reactionary gap can lead us to making better decisions. I'm Justin Garcia, aka Master Chim. VioPrep 101 seminar, October 7th, here at my academy, New York City. Hope to see you there. Hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.